my goodness. My goodness.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this live stream webinar that was created to share knowledge and experience with other EFL teachers around the world. Today, we are pleased to present this webinar regarding the use of technology in EFL education. Now it is time to introduce the speakers. All of them are EFL teachers. So we have first Ms. Gabriela Barreno, Ms. Maffer Mendoza, and Mr. Christian Castro, and finally me. I'm going to start with this webinar presentation. Now, what about when we refer the technology in EFL education? And nowadays, we know that we live in a technological era. So that is why it is important to understand that technology has arrived to stay for a long time, and we can use it for engaging the students to setting, in this case, to achieve their learning goals. So what about the definition of a different environment that we can call virtual learning environment, or VLE? So VLE, it is basically a kind of platform that it's aim to be used in a educational content or educational purpose. Well, it will give access to all a different type of audience. In this case, our students. So we should understand that when we mention that VLE is about education, well, yeah, we add some educational content, which means that we can teach any subject like social studies, science, math. It depends on our school's necessities, or in this case, how our English program is or has been set. So the good thing of a virtual learning environment is that we can use different types of gadgets. So we can use tablets, mobiles, consoles, yeah. And now it is important to use a different digital tool, because sometimes students get bored in the physical classroom. So it's like it becomes like dull or boring for them to just stay in the same space. But what about when we uh, take this information from the virtual, in this case, sorry, the physical space to a virtual one? So what happens when we organize the content, for example, in any topic? We are able to apply the content management in VLE in terms of we can organize this information unit by unit. We can organize some documents in depending on our students' needs. For example, we can just organize some PDF documents. In a different activity, we can, in this case, upload some videos. So that is why we have, in this case, the control to organize this information according to our lesson plan or our unit. That is linked to when we really want to assess our students. We really need a lesson plan. So the lesson plan is based on the learning goals the students are they're supposed to achieve. So when we use lesson plans and we understand that how we're going to evaluate the students. So in virtual learning environment, we can track, in this case, we can understand how our students are going through different types of evaluation. For example, we can show some dashboards and the students will understand how their learning process is going. So in this case, we can use rubrics, for example. Some virtual learning environment are easy to use or easy to create those types of evaluation options. So the students have this information, the parents know how their children are going in this course. So that is a kind of information that the students can understand how they're going, and even the teacher can provide some feedback when he or she evaluates its group, right? In this case, a group of students can work on an activity, and the teacher will add some comments in the homework. So another thing that we should understand is that sometimes the students really get bored even when they receive virtual lessons. It's very common, and that is why we can make the virtual learning environment a space for an interactive, in this case, communication and interactive way to learn. For example, we can add some quizzes or we can add some games. So the students will have the opportunity to revise this topic once and again. So they will have this engagement, this motivation. So they will enjoy the learning process using this type of technology. Another thing that we should understand is that we can allow students to work collaboratively. In this case, there are some options to set some forums activities so the students can share their knowledge, their opinions, and they are practicing what they have learned. In the same way, we can organize the groups in, for example, you are the group 1, you are group 2, and the students can work collaboratively. So the tools that we can provide to students, it's that, yeah, at the same time, they share information, they exchange their opinions, and they collaborate to get a product or to get a task. So next, we understand that in some virtual learning environments, there is an opportunity to get the, in this case, the virtual learning environment provides an opportunity to have, in this case, ongoing communication with the teacher. That is, we have some examples that we show the students whiteboard. So the students interact with the teacher in this moment. It's like a synchronous class. So students have the feedback in this moment. The teacher provides the feedback and help the students. In this case, according to the topic it's been learned. And let's go for the benefits. Why is good? Why the virtual learning environment can be good for us as teachers or for the students? Well, it is important to understand that the time that we can save creating these units or organizing the units, it's very important, because when we just think about just creating physical activities, so we're gonna spend a lot of time doing that. But when we have organized this information in some units, like in folders, so we're gonna save enough time to work in a better way. So another thing is that as teachers, we provide kind of um, access to diverse resources. So we as teachers, understanding our students' needs, we're gonna, in this case, show the materials according to our students' necessities. So that is why we're gonna enrich our learning process, and we're gonna help the students to improve some linguistic skills. And remember, if we understand that our students are different, so we're gonna work on the adaptation. So we can adapt some activities according to specific students or a specific group. So that is why we can personalize this content according to um, how the students can learn and the way they can show a final product, or how they can demonstrate they have achieved this learning goal expected by the teacher. And of course, we mentioned that before, we can provide some effective monitoring and assessment. So it is important to apply in virtual learning environments some formative, maybe authentic, and in this case, at the end of the unit, we can provide some for a summative assessment. And that is very important because we should keep evaluating, or in this case, keep assessing our students in order to adjust the way we teach or some strategies. So it depends. That is opportunity. The formative assessment help us to change the way we teach. So that is very important to take into account. The thing is that VLEs, or virtual learning environments, offers accessibility. So the resources are free to be used, and students can open those documents or those digital resource anytime, anywhere. So it's an opportunity to give the students the chance to study whenever they want and according to their learning styles. Other activities that we can promote, it's like a kind of immersive experience when we can make the students connect the learning with some real context of situations, of course, through technology. So that is why the learning process will be more meaningful. And we mentioned that we personalize some learning process, so that's why it is important to adapt because the personalized learning makes the students become more in this case relaxed, and they understand that how they can study, how they what kind of resources they can take step by step. But it is important because not all the students have the same way to get some information. And of course, the participation of students is very important in this learning process, and that is why the active learning is very important part of this in this benefit, because the activities should be very interactive, promoting collaborative working. And what is the aim of VLE? Well, the question is like simple, but let's talk about that. Of course, we understand that in some regions, in some cities, or in some countries, there is a problem. The problem is a technological gap, so that is why some schools cannot apply this virtual learning environment. But let's think about what is the positive impact if school or this context is able to use this type of resources. Well, at the end of the learning process, the students will become autonomous learners. So that is very important because we as teachers, we start guiding them through technology, through content, but at the end, they will understand they can do it by themselves. And when they will when they will be older, so they will be able to study in according to what they want to study, and they will recognize their own needs, so they will become in this case independent learners. So that is why it is important. And well, let's see some examples of virtual learning environments that well, there are many ones on internet, but we know that there are some examples like, well, we know Google Classroom. There are others like well, we know that Microsoft Teams. It's very useful. We have others like yeah, Edmodo, Kaltura. Moodle is very common, especially at universities. We have Udemy, Teachable, and Edme. So that is only examples. But the thing is, teachers, please try at least to explore technology, because if we don't know if technology can help us to show the information that we want to teach our students, so the only way is to explore, have this experience, and you will judge if this type of technology will be helpful for you. So that is why that is the message, the main message for about this topic. Virtual learning environment is not all, it's not the only way to, in this case, show a topic or explain a topic, but it is like complement. It's just a complement. Okay, because technology just can be seen as a complementary tool. That is not the number one tool. Okay, so but let's talk about what about when the students use the technology but based on the computer. Yeah, what about when we used the computer to study when we were students, and as teachers we understand that we can send some homework, and in this case the virtual learning environment we use in a computer. That is why call arrives. So that is why we're going to continue with the next topic.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to talk about the use of call in classroom learning teaching. So as a first point, we have call. And what is call? So call, it's an approach that um, was basically emerged in the 60s. And because before that approach, we had a wage and a wide range of approaches that were utilized in teaching a second language acquisition. So GOL means computer assisted language teaching and learning. So this approach was or has been a very useful and beneficial approach for teaching a language, as we now live in a world where we can use computers or smartphones devices specifically. So and then this approach was utilized and started in the 60s. So and also solidify or start his new branches in technology, where it was not only a computer in the user, but also was the teacher, a teacher and a tool. Because in this approach, the computer not only acts as a device, but also it has all the technological information, webs, and programs which are based on the hypercard that help the user and the person just go anywhere to one page to another page. For example, nowadays you can learn a language or you can learn something, history topic or science topics, just only by going into the web. And that is something very beneficial and very incredible because before the internet didn't exist and people just they read a lot of books and it was time consuming, which is now it's different because now we use technology, and nowadays technology it has very impactful. So now, as you said here, the computer and this methodology also acts as uh, a teacher and as an instructor, because when you go to one page, for example, for learning language, such as, let's say, an app, for example, Elsa, that is an app for learning languages. So this app can give you a lot of set of grammars, and some games also use gamification for learning a language. So you can click only a pattern and you can go to, for example, one puzzle exercise to one to the uh, to the matches the matching the pictures with the definition is very useful. Now, another important fact about this approach is that it is it has its foundation in the cognitivism theory, which is encompasses theories such as the constructivist theories, cognitivism theories, conductism theories, behaviorist theories that help the learners and the teachers not only center in only one strategy or learning style, but also help the teacher to investigate and go into deeper the techniques and methodologies to help the learners understand better the English language or any language that you are learning. So let's go to the next slide, and we have multimedia for learning a language in mid 19th up to now. So the first picture here, in the first picture, we have CD-ROMs in computer. What does CD-ROMs mean? So basically, it means read-only memory, which is a system on the computer that helps the information in the computer, as such as the software, to be more flexible, to be software more easy to use, such as more faster, much faster, and quickly, where you can watch videos, you can see photos in a uh, very high definition. So in the next, we have the computer mediated communication, CMC. So this means that through the computer or the device, you are exchanging information and you are interacting just with the device, and you are communicating with other people, and also you are learning something with other users, and that is why it's called computer mediated communication, which is abbreviations are CMC. Now, in the next picture, we have the stream video and services and digital resources. Well, so let's go back to the pandemic time. In that time, we just use call into the usage of streaming services and platforms such as Zoom, such as Skype, Windows, Microsoft. Uh, so those services and those digital resources helped us and assist us to just not only listen to the teacher or to the lecturer, but also to interact with the information that the teacher sent us in the chats, such as go to one website to another, such as go to one room to another in the breakout rooms in Zoom, where you can interact with your group. And it was very impactful and great for the learners, because they feel that they were learning something very important, and that also catch their attention. We can say that this call approach is a huge is a huge advantage nowadays, because uh, many people have different learning styles and they can learn by different things, because some students are kinesthetic and others are visual, spatial. So, and technology and call has all those methodologies that help the instructor to set up a class or lesson, to modify the class and make it more flexible for them. And some for also some for students that are with they have some, let's say, disabilities or some condition, special condition, that is technology is grateful because they love technology. So now we have, let's move on, we have the next So we have the core called technology mediation. So in this, as you can see in this graph, we can see that the learner and the computer, so here we can see an interplay between them, because the learner not only acts as a person, just an user, as an user, but also is interactive with the computer, and the computer, the learner can go to search, for example, for one vocabulary word, a dictionary, also watch a video, and then they are interacting, they are uh, exchanging ideas, information, where the information it's being accessed more easy and is easy to follow, and the learners can is vice versa, the learner also can learn from a computer. As we have heard before, the computer acts as a tool, and the learner, it's like an active and passive person, because in that moment the learner can interact but also can be passive, using all these uh, resources using code. Okay, so I hope you can really understood this topic, because it's very beneficial that you learn as you English teachers. So next is going to be my partner.
Hi everyone. I decided to talk about develop listening skill with technology. So I think we have to move on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So as Stephen Crusher mentioned, language learning begins with listening. The more you listen, the more you understand, and the more you can speak. But before talking about what technology we can use in our classroom, I would like to develop or letting you know why it's important to develop listening skill. So, listening skill in language learning refers to an ability to understand and process spoken language. It involves recognizing sounds, identify words and phrases, grasping the overall meaning, and understanding specific detail in different contexts. To develop this kind of listening skill in our classes is essential for effective communication and developed through practice with activities such as dialogue, recording, and interactive listening exercise. Also, in the next slide, we're going to talk about why is listening important in language learning. So we have four importance about listening skill. The first one will be foundation for communication. Listening is the first step to acquire a language. As a kid or a baby start learning any language, so they acquire the language before they start speaking it. So that's why it's important to have a lot of input before they start producing a language. In the second one, we have improved pronunciation and speaking. Explore the authentic speech, help learning meaning, pronunciation, and intonation. Then we have engaged on hate vocabulary and comprehension because learning absorbs new words and expression naturally. So the last but not least, we have prepared for real life situation. When we expose our students to some listening or dialogue in a listening practice or exercise, this can help learners to engage in a conversation, watch media, interact in the language, or even listen in a conversation from a native speaker will be helpful for all of them. So now we have the role, in the next slide, we have the role of technology in developing listening skill. We have four principles here. So accessible and diverse input, engaging and motivating, interactive, adapting and learning, flexible and self-paced learning. So talking about the first one, technology provides exposure to a different access, speed, and real-world conversation. So nowadays, as my partners talked before, we have technology to develop every single skill for our learners. So when we have this technology, it can be helpful for them to provide listening, to provide some exercise, and then they will be able to express themselves in an adult way. Then we have engaging and motivating. So when we engage a student to a multimedia content such as video, podcast, game, we immerse them in a fun learning tool. So that's why we catch a student attention and disengage the motivation every single day. Also, we have some app that adapt to learner's level. It doesn't mean that we only have to have one app for all the students, but we nowadays have some app that adapt to the level that a student have. It can be even in listening, reading, or speaking too. Talking about the last one, learners can practice at any time and anywhere. Not only in our classroom, they can even practice at home. So it's important for them to be aware about what they want to learn, what they want to know about the language. So what I suggest to you teachers, partners, is that we motivate our students in our classroom to continue learning every single day, even at home. In our next slide, I will share with you some websites and platforms and some apps that I have been using before in these past few weeks with my students. So the first one is lyrics training. This is a really nice platform because we can use, well, I will show you later. I have two more slides about that platform. And we can choose any song and we can develop with our students. So depends on what topic we're talking about. We can find a video related to the topic we're talking to our student, and then they can develop this kind of activity or listening activity at the school. Then we have also BBC Learning English. We have ELC Cyber Listening Lab and TEP Talk. Just keep in mind there is a bunch of website and platform we can be able to use. Cyber Listening Lab and TEP Talk. Just keep in mind there is a bunch of website and platform we can be able. Okay, then we have some app like Duolingo, BBC Sound, SpeechLink, and
Okay,
Jar.
then we have some app like
This app
Duolingo, BBC Sound, SpeechLink, and Jala.
I'm sorry, I'm listening myself.
I'm sorry, I'm listening myself.
Okay, so nice. So as I was telling you, we have some website and platform, and then I show you four that I have been using before, and then there are some apps. These apps are important for the student because first of all, they are free, and secondly, a student can practice at home or even outside home. This platform encourages students to continue learning more about the language they want to learn. So in our next slide, we have lyrics training, and I bring you some ideas about how to use this app or this website in your classroom. For example, in my case, when we talk about any topic related to simple past, obviously we don't teach the whole grammar, but what we teach is like sentence or vocabulary talking about that topic. So we can look for a music or song in YouTube. Then you go to this lyrics training website, and then you can choose the level of the student. So for example, I start with my student with beginner level, and then we move on to intermediate level, advanced, and expert. So they can be able to recognize the word they need to use. In the next slide, I show you how it works. So they have the song. If you can see the lyrics of the song down the picture. So there is a circle. In that circle, the student have to choose what word is missing, and then they will continue listening the song. So when they have fold, if you see at the top of the screen of the picture, you have some fold, hit, and gaps. So it's important because you will be able to recognize how many folds the student have, what is the score at the end, and then we can move on to the next level. Another website or app that I decided to show you today. This one is related to even both. In the next slide, please. This one is related to both even listening and speaking skill, but it involves both of them. So, I mean, actually, this involves more than 3 skills because this name Read Along, and you can download this app or even you can do it as a website for those that doesn't have like Apple apps. So when you download or when you open this website, you go in, and as you see in the screen, there are some different levels. So what will happen when you choose reading? Go please to the next one. We are in read along. So what will happen when you choose any reading is that the student or learners can choose the word, can tap the word, and they will listen the pronunciation. So after that, as the microphone is open, the student can read the overall text, all the text. So when they mispronounce any word, it will be like red in the text. So then they can tap again the word and produce the pronunciation properly. So that's why I really like, and as I told you, this doesn't involve only listening, this involves also speaking skill. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Two more, please, just the last one. So, after everything, we have to keep in mind that technology has transformed the way we develop listening skill in language learning, making it more accessible, engaging, and effective. By using technology, teacher can create interactive lessons to adapt to different learning styles. As my partner Gabriela talked about her topic before, we can use every single WhatsApp and every single app in order to make them learn in a different way. So in the end, technology makes language learning easier, more fun, and helps students communicate better in real life. So something we all have to keep in mind is that the more input a student receive, the more language they will be able to produce in English or any other language they have learned before or they want to learn. So just keep in mind, dear friends and colleagues, that the input is the most important for every single student, and then they can create and produce the language in a comfortable way. Thank you so much. So now is going to be the time for Gabriel with Second Life.
Okay, now let's explain this topic, which is Second Life Education Edition. And why Second Life? Well, I consider that Second Life is the best app in the computer because it doesn't need, you know, more resources than your computer probably would have. For example, I'm talking about 4 GB for rooms, and yeah, it's every single computer have nowadays this specification, these resources. Second Life is one of the best apps in the computer for you. You can apply some gamification that we are going to review through this presentation. Okay, let's explain why Second Life is so important for education nowadays? Well, Second Life allows teachers to design a unique learning space. Well, it is a virtual learning environment in which students can, you know, create their own worlds. The teacher can create some quizzes. uh, of course, teacher, we can build some virtual classroom, and we are going to see why this is important because it is easy to create interactive and engaging activities. Because Second Life is like a real world, a virtual world in which you can be whatever you want. If you want to be a horse, you can be a horse. If you want to be, you know, if you want to be like a toy face, you can be a vampire. You can be even a fairy. So a dog, cats, you can be whatever you want. And this is the essential for students because you can catch their attention, and teachers can produce role plays that we are going to review in the next slide. Yes, please. Okay, so we can see here that there are two people in here, yeah, two persons. So we have a man and a woman. So learners and teachers have a lot of possibilities to develop character, which will allow interaction among players. So as I said before, in this virtual world, you can interact with, if you are a human, you can interact with, for example, a vampire, or you know, a cat, a dog, so you can speak each other. So you can say, "Hey, hello, how are you?" And the other can say, "Oh, I'm just here to buy something." For example, if you are in a mall, yeah. So in the next slide, we have why is this, Second Life? What are the key use for teachers and of course for students? Because so here we have that it is an immersive language practice. Okay, so why is immersive language practice? Because you can develop here two important skills for your learners, that they are listening and speaking, because the Second Life is a game in which you can speak to each other. That is the game, in fact. So Interactive tasks and role plays. So, in Second Life, you can have a lot of role plays, so you can have wherever you want, and of course, we are going to have collaborative projects. If you are a character, you have a character in the Second Life, and you want to buy a house, you can do it. But before that, you have to you must pay for the papers. You have to go to the guild, because there is a guild where you can buy something, and you have to speak to buy. Yeah, there is a artificial intelligence where you can say, for example, hello, I'm here to buy a house, and the NPC is going to say, okay, you are going to pay $20,000, and you are going to pay it, and you are going to be able to have a house. That is just I mean, Second Life is like the perfect tool for teachers in a virtual classroom, because there is a lot of possibilities. And of course, we're going to have real-time feedback and assessment, because if you are a teacher and you are also immersive in the work, you can hear what your students are are saying or are doing. For example, if you design two students to a specific place, you can see and you can listen in your computer, because you are going to be able to have some keys, like, because there are some keys where you can listen, and you're going to be able to be a fly, fly, just uh, flying wherever you want and listening what your students are speaking. In the next slide, I'm going to show you why is Second Life. What are the benefits? Okay, so here we have immersive learning lane. So in this case, you can see here a pictures in which there is a some characters. In here we have humans, a half man, a calf, and of course we're going to have global communication among the players. So we have here a lot of players. So you are not able to stay quiet, because you are going to listen every time. So every single second you are going to hear some sounds. Okay, so what's happening here? Uh, okay, so there we are. Yeah, the next benefit that we are going to review is the environments. Now I'm going to talk about the environments. In here, we are going to see that as a teacher, we have the possibility to create a word in a specific, area. For example, uh, I'm going to create a word just for, to teach beach vocabulary. So you're going to create a word in the beach. So, the beach, and I'm going to teach, about animals. So I'm going to be creating a word in a jungle. So that is the way you are going to teach, is the way you are going to create your own word. And of course, in the next slide, I'm going to show you why, how the game looks like, just for a trailer. In the next slide. Okay, the game is, as I said before, is friendly for your computers. It doesn't need a lot of resources, because it is like you know some pixels that are not just in a high quality, but it is still enough good for for your students. And yeah, we're going to play the video to see what the game looks like.
Where imagination knows no bounds, and the world is anything but ordinary. It's a land of infinite opportunity, where action and adventure reach far beyond normal. It's an ever changing world, rich with promise. So vast, so versatile, so exhilarating. Transform your being. Tempt fate without inhibition. Court danger without fear. Indulge every passion. From Linden Lab, Second Life. Get one.
Okay, that's it. No, that's how the game looks like, and it is, yeah, it doesn't have the graphics that we have nowadays, but it is still good to teach, and to create your own words in order to teach whatever you want. So in the last slide, we're going to review just a little bit about the importance for the role-playing opportunities that second lines provide to the teachers. So teachers can design situational role plays, for example, job interviews, travel experience, and emergency situations. On score, the students are going to take on different roles, encouraging creative and problem solving in English. So the point here is that as soon as your students are going to be immersive in a specific world, they are going to need vocabulary, words, sentences, and they are going to explore those words in order to specify something that they're going to need. For example, job interviews, travel experience, to buy a house, to a specific situation. For example, in the picture, like we're just, I think it's a police car that has some situation that just happened in Second Life. So, and of course, for the teachers, the most important part here is that we're going to be, able to provide immediate feedback through the text or through the book chats. Okay, so as a final point, the teachers can provide access to a global learning community, helping students to gain confidence in using English in a diverse context. Because in a face-to-face, maybe sometimes it's difficult to express some ideas, but maybe, or in this case, in a virtual environment, it is some cases easier than in a face-to-face environment. So that's all for today. I think we are done with the topics, and thank you very much for your for being here in this webinar.
Okay, thank you so much, Christian. Okay, so it's time to say goodbye. But first, let's say some words of okay. So we really appreciate your time here, and we really thank for being here and being part of these. So thank you very much for your time and attention, and we really hope that you could learn something very beneficial and important and relevant. So, but don't forget also to try to use these exercises and activities and websites that we have talked okay throughout this webinar. So I don't think, let's see if we have questions. Okay, if you have any question, please don't forget to ask. Okay, we are here. So no questions. Let me see. So no, we don't have questions. So I think it's okay. We are done. So thank you very much for your time, and so see you next time.
Okay, same for me. Have a good night. Thank you so much for all of you being here. Gary, went down, right?